Now, one of the things I love about this movie are, again, Judd does this a lot too with his movies, is like the pop culture references, the references to things that are very popular at the moment, like for example, like Game of Thrones. But as a comedian, as comedians yourselves, like you make jokes. How do you know whether or not the audience will know like what Caligula is, or something like? Do you have to gauge how popular that item is before you can make the joke about it?
It's a good question. I think again, that's in the testing of it. You really learn, because yeah, I wouldn't think that Caligula would get a big laugh, but yeah, it's killed.
I also feel like just whatever makes you laugh, whatever's making us laugh is I don't know, that's what I go by. Just like if we're laughing on set and someone comes up with something that might seem really esoteric or whatever, it's like, just go with it.
What esoteric? Is that a dinosaur?
I don't know what that means, esoteric.
Anyway, but Judd's good at, he would get a lot of options so that we could test different jokes.
I was like, yes, Red Wedding references, I'm excited about this. Oh, that is freaking awesome.
Yeah, he left in some references I was like, well, this won't be in. I you know, reference Jonestown. I definitely didn't think that would be in the final.
That was very funny.
Cut.
I want to ask you about writing jokes for a stand-up versus a movie, because in stand-up you have a live audience reaction, you can hear the people laughing, you know it's working. In a movie, it's quiet on set. So can you talk about the difference in doing that and how you know it works and doesn't work?
Yeah, well, I would do a bunch of table reads with just my friends and have friends read it, and so that kind of gave me some confidence of them saying it's funny or not. And then you really don't know till the screenings of the movie when they're testing it, and if people don't laugh, you can't like go out into the crowd and explain to them like, excuse me, that was funny because. So yeah, what the crowd's reaction is kind of gospel. But with stand-up, yeah, it's just trial and error. And but I don't think that stand-up jokes work very well in movies. I think the behavior is funnier.
Yeah.
You know.
I agree. Yeah, when you're doing stuff, a lot of times actually the thing that gets a giant laugh on set doesn't work in the movie. Yeah. That's what I've learned. And usually a thing that you don't think about. I know for me personally in the movie, there's a scene where I'm this great scene that Amy wrote where I'm like, she's like, "Don't touch me." Like, it's really funny. Yeah. And then she's like, "Get away, get away." And then one take, she said, "Is this okay?" And I said, "No, it's totally worth it." Which like didn't get. I just say that as a throwaway because that's just being honest in the scene.
Right.
He's staying there. So he's like, "No, this is worth it. This is great." And then he gets this big laugh, and it was like, "Oh, that's the thing that got a big laugh."
The really earned stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nerdy question for you. There's a moment where you and Bree are looking through like the older stuff from Colin Quinn.
Yeah.
And there's a photo of a younger girl and a mom.
Yeah.
Is that really you at a young age?
That's my mom and my real little sister.
I was wondering about that.
Yeah.
How did you decide not to use yourself but also your sister instead?
I think we wanted to show that the relationship with, you know, with Bree and with my mom, that they were kind of closer, and I was closer with my dad.
Right.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Now, I just saw you live in DC, and obviously the stand-up show was so funny.
Thank you.
I want to know about like in the sense of the both of you and earlier in your careers. Obviously, bombing is something that's a big thing for comedians when they first start off. And can you talk about like obviously nowadays everything goes great.
Well,
no, not really.
I
bomb all the time.
Now, what's the art of recovering from a bombing when you know it's not working?
Not caring and kind of laughing at yourself.
Yeah, kind of going, well, this isn't working.
It's just so humiliating. There's no one to blame but you.
Yeah, just keep moving.
Yeah, it's funny. And my favorite thing is to see my friends bomb, or if they're there and I'm bombing.
It's the best. It's also great when you're bombing to just dig in. There's a sketch.
Just bury yourself.
There's a sketch with Justin Bieber that didn't air where I'm this old country singer and he's my son. And it bombs, it plays to absolute silence. And you can just tell this thing goes off in my eyes and everyone else where it's just like, oh, fuck it. You're going to have to sit through this. You're going to have to sit through this now. And we took our time.
How long was that sketch?
Oh, it was supposed to be 5 minutes. It was like a 9-10 minute sketch where everyone's like, let's wrap it up. We're like, nope, they're gonna have to sit through it.
One more verse.
I like it. Yeah.
Now I love this. There's a scene in the movie where Tilda Swinton's basically trying to tell you to stop smiling.
Yes.
And it's one of the funniest scenes I've seen in film in a long time.
Oh, that's really nice.
How did that work though? In the sense of like, were like, I don't know. It's like a funny moment. Like, do you have to like lessen the smile for each different shot? How did that work?
I need to find out because I've been asked about this scene and I honestly can't remember if we improvised it or not. Huh. But I think it was just, I actually naturally just smile all the time. Yeah. And so I think it was just me, I think I really do smile when I'm nervous sometimes. And when I'm, for a range of emotions, I'll smile. So I think I was just sort of a natural thing. Like, it was not hard for me to smile at an inappropriate time, because I do that all the time in life.
And as I mentioned to you, I didn't even know it was Tilda Swinton. Until I left the theater. You said someone was filming with her, didn't even know it was her?
Yeah, Mike Birbiglia said he was filming with her for like 4 hours and he had no idea that it was her. Yeah, I know. It's so crazy.
Yeah, that is cool. I have to ask you, on Saturday Night Live, you get a live audience reaction, immediate laughter.
Yeah.
You know if a joke's killing or bombing. In a movie, you have a set, people kind of have to be quiet a little bit.
Right.
Can you talk about the art of that and how you know, the difference between the two and how you know a joke's working when you're not doing it live?
Sometimes if a joke is working, like when they say cut, we'll start laughing or whatever. A lot of times in this movie, I started laughing, like Amy would do something really funny and I would start laughing while we were still filming, and that's not professional, but that's sometimes, usually there's laughter at some point, it's just supposed to not be when you're filming.
Right.
So, yeah.
But when you're on stage on Saturday Night Live doing a show and you know something's not going right, do you adjust it?
There's not too much you can do because you have to follow the cue cards. Sometimes if there's like a vocal tick or something that I'm doing that has gotten a laugh, I'll try and like increase that to kind of like, or do there's something that I can do. But sometimes a scene just isn't working, and
you know it,
and
right?
Sometimes because we do a dress rehearsal show and then a live show, and sometimes something will go great in the dress rehearsal show, and then the live audience will just be like, we don't.
Different audience, different people.
Yeah.
It's interesting. Now, I've been watching Saturday Night Live since I was a kid, and I've always been a nerd about, I always wanted to know how it works. So, for example, with the Miley Cyrus impression, how did that start? Where did that come from? Did you pitch that? How does that work?
Yeah, I auditioned with it. When I was auditioning for SNL, I had sort of been watching her, and I thought she had a really interesting, way of talking and personality and stuff. So it was the first thing in my SNL audition was an impression of Miley Cyrus.
Did any of your audition ever make it to air? Like in the sense of, did you ever pull from the moments you auditioned?
With the stuff that I said, a little bit, but because it became more of a talk show and stuff, it was, we changed it sort of, but mostly just like the voice and the mannerisms and stuff.
You talk about like the idea of like, obviously on the show you're looking at cue cards, you're reading lines.
Yeah.
In a movie you have to memorize the lines. But you still memorize them on the show, I'm assuming, right?
You kind of can't memorize them on the show because they will change so quickly from, when we first rehearse something on Thursday or Friday to Saturday night, that if you memorize them, it wouldn't really do you any good because they'll be changing all the time. Sometimes if it's like a really long thing, you'll try and kind of get a sense of it, but you also don't want to make yourself remember something and then have it change and have that trip you up. So you sort of like have a sense of it and you practice it a few times, but it's very unusual that a sketch when it airs live is the same as it's been before that. Like most sketches get shortened or lines change, from during the week or even from the 8 o'clock dress rehearsal show to the live show.
Wow.
So it's crazy. This, with the movie, you can sort of more memorize your lines, although we improvised so much that there was a lot of playing around with it.
We did a wonderful job. Congratulations to you.
Oh, thanks.
It was awesome to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.